Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Janine Harry, a communication scientist by profession, here to give you communication tips and self awareness strategies through conversation in my pursuit of dismantling oppressive discourses in communicative events. So, thank you so much for joining me once again. I would like this video to be very conversationalist and laid back in nature. So please do unwind with me. Get that popcorn, get that drink, just unwind with me, okay? So I was a bit reluctant to create this particular video, okay, because I am going to be discussing a very controversial issue. But then again, I'm also reminded that many oppressive systems in the past collapsed because somebody was brave enough to be controversial. Nelson Mandela was a controversial man. Martin Luther King was considered controversial. Rosa Parks was considered to be controversial. So, who are we to not be a bit controversial, right? Who are we to shy away from controversy? Because at the end of the day, we definitely stand on the shoulders of giants. We stand on the shoulders of some very controversial, prominent figures within society. So let's get right into this video, in which I will be discussing religious privilege, which I believe is a discourse that continuously perpetuates mental enslavement. Let's get right into it. Now, within society, many forms of privilege exist. Okay, we have racial privilege, gendered privilege, sexual orientation privilege, able-bodied privilege. More recently, we even came up with another form of privilege called pretty privilege. Now, it is so easy to actually look at these forms of privileges and to actually see the absurdity in it, right? But once upon a time, these forms of privileges was quite normalized within society. It was considered as right, very normal, a normal part of the ways in which we needed to function as human beings. And I'm so glad that once upon a time, these structures of privilege was entirely dismantled. Unfortunately, these types of privileges still play out today, but I'm glad that we are continuously in the business of dismantling the structures that are keeping certain privileges in place. Now, there is also a type of privilege that we know about. A lot of people have come forward and they are discussing it, and I definitely believe that we should always be broadening the discussion. We should always be adding our little 2 cents to that discussion. And that is why today I am going to be speaking about religious privilege. Now, if you go onto the internet, you will find, the very standard definition of what religious privilege actually means. But in this particular video, I want to give you my modern definition. And this particular definition functions within the context of technology and social media. Okay, it's really important within the era that we are living in today. So, my modern definition of religious privilege is when you have the confidence to speak about and post openly about your beliefs without fear of defiance because those particular beliefs are supported by the majority of people within society. Now, this is what this particular privilege will look like, right? It's when you don't even second guess yourself. You just feel so confident to speak about certain things, so confident to post certain things. And this confidence stems from the fact that you have so many people supporting you to the point where there is little to no room for defiance. Because at the end of the day, why would anyone defy you, right? If everyone supports you. So it is this privilege which allows you to have this confidence to boldly and proudly speak out about your beliefs because you know that you are supported. And you also know that whoever defies you or whoever disagrees with you, you also have that privilege to say, well, you are demonic, you are satanic, you are a lost soul. And a lot of people don't even feel bad when they label others as being demonic. satanic, a lost soul, because it is this particular privilege that allows you to believe that your beliefs are right, and any belief system that opposes what you believe to be true is wrong. Okay? So, yes, within the context of technology and social media, religious privilege is quite prevalent within society. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it is becoming increasingly obvious that there is this sort of competitiveness when it comes to beliefs, right? There is this sort of competitiveness between spirituality and religion, in which people are saying things such as, well, I'm right, and what I believe in is right, and what you believe in is wrong. So there's this huge sort of competitiveness regarding belief systems as of late. And I'm here to say that there should actually be less focus or no focus on right and wrong, because in the grand scheme of things, there is no right and wrong regarding belief systems, because at the end of the day, we get to choose what works for us. That's all that matters, choosing what works for you. So I believe that there should be less focus on the right and wrong aspect of a belief system, and more focus should be placed on how those belief systems make us feel from a physical and a mental standpoint. How do you feel when you hear somebody speaking about their beliefs? How do you think you make others feel when they are speaking about their beliefs? So, when you are saying things such as, this is right, this is wrong, that is a sin, you are going to hell, you are going to burn in the pits of fire, how do you think that makes other people feel, right? And this is why we should actually be paying close attention to the narratives, imagery, and the metaphors used within a particular belief system. Now, here's the thing. Life consists of polarity, okay? There are opposite forces that exist within every single thing. And this means that there is a bit of good and a bit of bad inherent in every system, in every belief system, in every person, and so forth. So, obviously, when it comes to belief systems, certain religions, if not all religions, and all spiritual practices, there will be some really great and empowering discourses that comes from that particular religious practice. But at the same time, there will also be some discourses that perpetuate fear and perpetuates the enslavement of the mind. And this is why we should not simply be taking an entire belief system, which obviously includes all of its discourses, and then simply copying and pasting that and subjecting or projecting that onto the next generation. We should actually be asking ourselves, okay, what is good about this particular belief system, what is bad. Let me extract the information that frees people, and let me subtract the information that does not free people. So again, I'm going to say that in order to do this, we should be paying close attention to the narratives, the imagery, and the metaphors used within our belief systems, because our belief systems, our religious practices, our spiritual practices, at its core, it's just communicative events, it's just discourse. And we are always in the business of needing to dismantle, recontextualize, refine, shift, and change our discourses. So I've created a particular template, right? And this template is not done and dusted, it's not exhaustive, which means that you can add to this template in whichever way you feel you need to do that, okay? But this is a template that I've created in having you consider whether your beliefs, that is, the things you post and the things you speak about, whether that liberates the mind or whether that perpetuates fear and enslaves the mind. And as I said, this template is not exhaustive. You can add on to this template, okay? But in saying that, I also want to say that if your belief systems, or if the things you are speaking about closely relates to this particular template, then at least you know that you are on your way to speaking about things within the spiritual and religious context that actually liberates people, that allows people to feel a sense of freedom, as opposed to having them be in this perpetual state of fear in which you are enslaving the mind. So, first of all, your belief system should at all times communicate the fact that all life forms are important and valuable. This means that the life of an animal is equally as important as the life of a human being, and no life is therefore inferior or superior in relation to another. Your belief system should also communicate the fact that we should be honoring the planet and the earth that we walk upon. In saying this, we need to be aware of our impact on the earth. We need to be aware of when our behaviors are destructive to the earth. We need to be aware of the destruction of pollution and exploitation of natural resources. Okay? Number two, your belief system should communicate the fact that everyone is a chosen one. There are no lost souls. And I am using the terms chosen one and lost souls because these are very common discourses within religious and spiritual communicative practices. Now, yes, we are all on our own personal journeys. We are all evolving at different rates. Some people may be doing better in terms of morality and the ways in which they are treating others. But this doesn't make one person better than the next. A lot of the times we get caught up in the righteousness act, in which we believe that just because we are preserving the earth, we are caring for the earth, we are caring for animals, we are somehow better. We are somehow the chosen ones, okay? But at the end of the day, everyone is a chosen one. And you may be asking, okay, so why is this the case? So why is everyone a chosen one? Everyone is a chosen one. Everyone is favored. Everyone is the favorite of the Almighty because we have breath within us, because we are alive. And whatever has breath within them, whatever is living, is favored. A lot of times we get caught up in the discourse of, I'm God's favorite. I'm a chosen one. Everyone else is a lost soul. There are no lost souls. There are not certain groups of people that are favored over others. Everyone is important. Every life is important. Number three, your beliefs should be communicating the fact that all forms of music, dress codes, jewelry, minerals, and behaviors should be accepted within the grand scheme of things. Now, I want to touch a bit on behaviors, okay, because some behaviors can be really detrimental, okay, and that is a conversation for another day. But I want to speak about these everyday behaviors that we tend to frown upon. Most often, people who are partying, drinking, using profanity, those people are stigmatized as being lost souls, as being so wrong. Whereas other more righteous forms of behavior is seen as right, the correct way of living. But at the end of the day, all forms of behaviors are okay. It doesn't make it necessarily right or wrong, but it is a part of this human condition. Much like music. A lot of times we believe that certain forms of music are okay and correct to listen to, whilst other forms of music are just demonic and satanic. But what we need to understand is that music and the message within that music, regardless of what that message might be, still serves a purpose within communicative discourses within society. Point number four, your belief system should communicate the fact that life is a school of learning. And if this is a school of learning, we are allowed to make mistakes and also learn from that mistakes. And yes, some mistakes can be really, really bad mistakes, in which the consequences for those mistakes can be really harsh. But at the end of the day, it is simply a mistake. It is not a sin which makes someone inherently bad. In fact, we should banish the word sin from our vocabulary entirely. No one is actually bad at their core. People only do some really bad things because they are a product of the environment. But if you remove the behaviors and you remove the environment and you remove the programming, what exists at that person's core is goodness, and we are all inherently good at our core because we all come from one source. And finally, there are no rules for how beliefs should be practiced. Most often, we believe that we should only be in church every Sunday. Or there are some beliefs that say, well, you should only be meditating and being in this form of love and light and Zen type of persona every single day. No, there's no correct way in which beliefs should be practiced. Your belief system, your religious system, your spiritual system can be practiced in whichever way you feel comfortable. Now, I want you to look at this particular template and realize that there are so many religious practices that communicate things that operate in stark contrast, in opposition to this template. And that is how religious privilege is birthed. That is how it is created. Can you believe that there are certain religious practices that actually says that some life forms are better than others? Human life is better than the life of an animal. Some people are chosen whilst others are lost and demonic. Some forms of music are better than others. When you guys say these things, are you actually listening to yourselves? Do you hear what you are saying? Do you realize that you sound exactly like those people who advocated for racial privilege many years ago? And it's so funny as to how we speak about overcoming enslavement, but yet in today's modern society, we are still perpetuating enslavement in different forms. And it is time for us to pay close attention to our discourses and ask ourselves, are the things I am saying, does it free and liberate the minds of others? Or am I part and parcel of the problem? Am I also one of those people who is perpetuating the enslavement and fear amongst my fellow human beings on this earth? So, as I said, this particular template is not exhaustive. We can add on to this template, we can refine and rework it in whichever way possible. But this is a good starting point to find out if your belief system liberates the minds of others or if it enslaves the minds of others. And it is so funny as to how people who are continuously enslaving the minds of others, they're always the ones who seek to be louder than others. They are always the ones who have a bigger platform, more followers. And this is what privilege does, right? It results in more followers, more attention, more fame, because it is those belief systems that are supported by the majority. And it is high time that people who believe in unity and oneness amongst all life forms, it is high time that you become a bit more loud. It's high time that you allow your voice to be heard. It is high time that you start speaking up. Stop being ashamed of your beliefs. Stop being ashamed of the beauty of oneness, the beauty of inclusion, the beauty of unity. Stop being ashamed of that. Stop hiding away. Because people who are preaching about division, right and wrong, chosen ones and lost souls, those people are not ashamed of having their voices heard. Those people are not ashamed of looking for the attention. Why are you ashamed to speak about your love and light, about unity, about inclusion, about oneness that exists amongst all life forms? To not shy away from that. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Now, as you know, I will always leave you with a quote of wisdom to end off things on a good note. Now, I have no idea how to pronounce the name of the author of this particular quote, and therefore I will not say his name because I do not want to butcher his name, but I'm going to repeat his quote. He says, "True religion is a revolutionary force. It is an inveterate enemy of oppression, privilege, and injustice." And I absolutely love that. Thank you so, so, so much. Now, if you'd like to keep up with me, please do so by subscribing to my YouTube channel, giving this video a thumbs up, and sharing it with whoever you think might need to hear it. And if you'd like to connect with me, or if you'd like me to discuss anything on this channel, please pop me an email and I'll see what I can do for you. My email address is janineharry90@gmail.com. Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining me and sticking around. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time, much love.